Today we're going to learn about two-way frequency tables. Below is a two-way frequency table, a table in which frequencies correspond to two variables. One variable is used to categorize the rows, where the second variable is there to categorize the columns. So the rows and the columns. Two-way frequency tables have at least two rows and two columns. An entry in the body of the table is a joint frequency. These are joint frequencies. An entry into the margins is a marginal frequency. These are your marginal frequency. In the lower right-hand corner will be the grand total. So, of the chart frequency table that you see here, boys who own a bicycle, the joint frequency is 16. Those that own a bicycle, the total is 34. Girls who do not own a bicycle is 12, and the total number of boys who surveyed were 20. On Saturday, 201 tickets were sold. So a total of 201 were sold for two movies, movie A and movie B. Of the 103 tickets sold for A, so a total of 103 for A. And 78 tickets were sold to men. So that's where this 78 is coming from. Of the 98 tickets sold for movie B, total is 98. 86 of them were sold to women. So we made a two-way frequency table of the data. Next, we will find the missing frequencies. Because this column has a total, the movie A has a total of 103, we don't know how many women, but we do know how many men, which was 78. So 103 minus the 78 will tell us that there were 25 women. For movie B, we do not know the total number of men, but we do know the total number for movie B, 98, and of those, 86 were women. Then that means for the men, the total was 12. Now we can answer the rows. The total number of men then will be a total of 90. And then two ways of figuring out what it would be for the number of women. We could either add up the totals for movie A and movie B to get that total, or we can take 201 and subtract that 90 and get a total of 111. Again, filling in the information for this particular chart, let me go ahead and move this out of the way. Then the answers would be, first, a total of 295 males and females were asked whether they preferred reading about the news from a newspaper or on the internet. Of the 138 males, total to 138, 97 of them preferred the internet, and of the 157 females, 32 said they preferred the newspaper. We made a two-way frequency table for the data and then start to fill in the blanks. Since we know the total number of females is 157, then we can take 157, subtract from it the number of females that preferred the newspaper, 32, and get 125. Since we know the total number of males is 138, and that of them, 97 of them preferred the internet, then subtracting that 97 from 138, we get 41. Now that we have everything we need for the columns, we can then add those columns, male and female, to get 73 for newspaper, and for internet, adding that column and get 222. So the total number of female that preferred the internet was 125. The total number who preferred newspapers is 73. The number of males that were surveyed is 138. There were 295 people that were surveyed. Now, relative frequencies of a category, such as girls who own a bicycle, is a ratio of the frequency of the category to the total frequency. So when we take a look at the relative frequency of girls who own a bicycle, then that would be 18 divided by 30 Actually, the error that they have on this is a conditional frequency that they're getting to, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Again, the relative frequency of girls who own a bicycle is 18 divided by 50, which is 0.36. The relative frequency, joint relative frequency, for boys who do not own a bicycle will be 4 divided by 50. Again, the total frequency divided into the joint frequency provides you the joint relative frequency is 0.08. So again, a joint relative frequency is found by dividing a frequency that is not in the total row or column by the grand total. And a marginal relative frequency is found by taking the row column or the total the row total or the column total and dividing it by the grand total. So let's back up. First, I would ask questions like, what is the joint frequency for a number of girls? The answer would be 18. What is the joint relative frequency for the number of girls who own a bicycle? Is 18 divided by 50. What is the marginal frequency for girls? That would be 30. What is the marginal relative frequency for the number of girls? Is 30 divided by 50. Again, the key word is relative. If you see that word relative, then that means divide by either the total in the column, the total in the row, or the grand total. So to make a relative frequency table for the data, write a ratio in each cell. Again, using the total, grand total, and dividing that in each of the joint frequencies gives you a joint relative frequency. And then dividing that grand total into each of the marginal totals give you a marginal relative frequency. Our example, what is the joint relative frequency of men who saw movie A? The answer would be 78 divided by 201, which is 0.39. The marginal relative frequency for women would be in the margins relative frequency, so it would be 111 divided by the grand total 201, which is approximately 0.55. Again, taking a look at the two-way frequency table that is provided, I want to know then what is the joint relative frequency for the number of juniors who preferred French. And we look at the juniors who preferred French would be that 34 divided by 152, which is 0.225. And then what is the marginal relative frequency of seniors? So we go to the seniors row, that total. So we can take 84 and divided by 152. Lastly, we're going to take a look at conditional relative frequency. In a conditional relative frequency, you're going to divide the joint frequency by the frequencies row or column. You have to take a look at what the condition that must be met first to decide whether or not you use the row or the column. Here's my example. What is the conditional relative frequency that a person surveyed supports the bond issue, given that the person is between 18 and 25? So I need to use only that section. But the first thing I need to know is what is the total for that particular column. So that 79 plus 19 is, 79 plus that 19 is 98. So that conditional relative frequency that a person surveyed supports the bond issue, given that that person is between the ages of 18 and 25, is support, which is 79, divided by that 98, which is 79 divided by 98, and we get 0.81. What is conditional relative frequency that a person surveyed supports the bond issue, given that the person is between that age? So I can only look at, let's change the color here. I can only look at this age group. That 57 plus 45 is 102 people. So the conditional relative frequency that a person surveyed supports the bond issue would be 57 over, given that the person is between the ages of 26 and 64, over the 102. 57 divided by 102, and we get 0.56, approximately 0.56. Finally, what is the conditional relative frequency that a person surveyed supports the bond issue, given the fact that that person is 65 or older? Again, I can only use 65 and older. That's the given. Then that total is 33 plus the 68, which is 101. And then I want supporting the issue. So 33 divided by 101 is 0.33 approximately. Okay, again, make sure you find the totals first. So I'm going to ask a few additional information or problems on this one. Total is 12, total is 10, the total is 9, that total is 17, that total is 14. So my total down here should match my total there, which is a total of 31. What is the conditional relative frequency that a player batting in the first, second, or third position reaches the base? Okay, so given that they are in first or second or third position and that they reach the base, would be 9 divided by 12 is 0.75. Okay, I'm going to change these up. Instead of asking what is the conditional relative frequency that a player batting in the fourth, fifth, or sixth position reaches the base, I'm going to change it to say what is the conditional relative frequency that a person reaching the base is in the fourth, fifth, or sixth position. Okay, let me say that again. So I'm changing this up. And I'm saying, what is the conditional relative frequency that a player reaches the base is in the first, second, or third position in the lineup, then that means I have to go this direction instead. And in going in that direction, the fact that it reaches the base is a total of 17. But given that they reach the base and they're in the first, second, or third lineup, would be 9, not divided by 12 this time, but divided by 17. So 9 divided by 17, which is 0.53. See, again, you're going to have to make sure you find what the condition is that needs to be met. That condition will determine what row or what column that you need to use. If I ask for regular frequencies, the joint relative frequency, for example, then you divide those frequencies by the total, the grand total. If it's a conditional relative frequency, then you're going to be dividing by a particular row's total or a particular column's total.